What's up, my friends? David Moss Jr. here, and this is my new friend, Stephen Haynes. He is the founder of Fjord Cold Plunge, and in today's episode, I want him to share, he's got a really cool story. I want him to share his story that led him into cold water therapy, what created that passion, how we met, creating your first product to the product you have today. Stephen, tell the audience how you got into cold water therapy.
So I was a competitive swimmer in triathlon. Swimming was my favorite thing. I grew up here in Texas, and it's hot. You have to find a way to get through it. So for me, it was just being in the water and you get to be active at the same time. In my previous job, I was working for a Swedish company doing consulting for oil and gas companies, which fortuitously brought me to the west coast of Norway for extended periods of time. So I started swimming in the fjords. Well, it turns out they're in the mid 40s in early May. So I just got used to controlling my breath in cold water, kind of fell in love with the way that it made me feel. It was like you get a workout plus cold water therapy and you just pop out and you feel like a champion. So I just sort of became obsessed with the idea of it for myself at that time.
Kind of like me and kind of like a lot of people out there who just kind of experienced it on a whim. Yeah. What led you to actually starting a company?
When I decided to get into cold plunging, it was kind of a mistake. It was an accident. So I just decided I want a cold plunge at my house and I DIY'd one. Much like a lot of the people that are watching your channel, right? Like
me.
it's a fun way to do it. And I learned a lot building it. And after I built one, my friends would come over, we would cold plunge together. And this was 3+ years ago before there was so many options on the market. And they were like, can you build me one? So I built one for a friend and another friend and another friend. And then I was starting to get phone calls from other people I don't know and taking orders. And suddenly it became a side business. And then it became a full-time business. So I decided to take a chance on it. Number one, because I could have started a lot of different companies, probably made more money going into private equity or VC or something, coming out of consulting. But I thought, you know what? This is something that I believe in. I started reading up on the science, realizing this actually really helps people. Antidepressant, mental health benefits, physical benefits, all kinds of great things. So I thought this is something that's actually going to help people. I believe in it. It's science-backed. And so let's go ahead and create a product and get it out into market.
You said this was about 3 years ago. When did you actually start Fjord Cold Plunge? And when did you just kind of open it out to orders from random strangers on the internet?
The random strangers and orders and things that started happening from the very beginning was maybe 3.5 years ago. So I did that for maybe even less, did that for about 4 months. And then decided to go ahead and create, a company around it, like do all the paperwork and actually create a company.
Wow.
If you want to hear the rough parts of founder's story of like how we made mistakes in the beginning.
Yeah, sure.
So when I started the company, I was naive in terms of, exactly how to do it the right way. But I thought, you know what? I've been DIYing these. They look very DIY. They're not branded. Let's go ahead and make this legit. I made the mistake, everyone, of white labeling chillers from China. So started getting all-in-one machines over there, getting my branding on them. They were sending them over. They looked fancy, really fancy LED, all these features. And I was nearly put out of business by that choice that I made because within 3 months, 6 months, these things were breaking left, right, and center. They were breaking on my customers. I was dealing with, really trying to make things right with customers, no recourse with China. It was an absolute mess. And I wasted tens of thousands of dollars by going with a low quality Chinese product, which I didn't know was going to be. I had to learn the lesson.
So you learned a pretty hard lesson. And as a lot of my viewers know, there's quite a few companies who have learned that lesson and many who didn't make it through. That's right. What was that pivotal moment that took you from like, this has to stop and I have to find a way to make my cold plunge more dependable for the users?
I definitely had a moment where I thought, am I going to need to just wrap this up and get a different job? My passion was too strong for it. And my community was coming around me. And I had so much support from my community and people were like, we got your back, let's make this right. So I basically decided to double my cost of goods sold by having all of our stuff that we build our cold plunge with manufactured in America. And it was an expensive choice that made us raise our price point. But I was like, let's go the opposite way. I don't want to be a maintenance person. I want to be a cold plunge founder. And so we went that direction. And right about that time, we participated in the biohacking conference in Austin a couple of years ago called Hack Your Health. And we debuted our new product there, American made, equipment and all that stuff. And we got an incredible reception. And so we had a ton of sales that came from that conference that really kicked us off and gave us the cash and the excitement and the validation to continue moving forward. And since then, we've even continued to innovate on the product and try and improve it.
Dude, that's amazing. Sometimes you got to bet on yourself. And when you have a passion on something, you have to put yourself in the right room. I think a lot of people think like, oh, I'll just create a product and I'll just put it out there online. That's cool. And sometimes that works. But when you put yourself passionately in the right room, it can catapult your business to a whole different level. And it's crazy because we actually met at one of those events. We met at Paul Saladino's Fedeli premiere here in Austin. Yep. And I wasn't even supposed to be there. My flight was delayed. My friends who own the Tallow twins, we were all at a dinner, big group dinner. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to this premiere, tomorrow night for Paul Saladino's thing. I'm like, what? I work with Heart and Soil. I love Paul Saladino. I should be there. So I messaged the team and they're like, yeah, you're in town. Come, please come. It all worked out. I was able to show up there. It was awesome. But I also met you, and I don't really remember exactly like how we met that night. It was kind of a blur. Can you remind me and also maybe share with the viewers too?
This will be really fun. So I was mingling. They had a long reception before the documentary started. There was always interesting people, and I was mingling with people. And I go over to where the food was at. And, that's the charcuterie and so forth. So I'm hanging out there, and I see this guy standing there by himself wearing this black hat that says Jesus on it. And I thought, that is cool. I want to talk to this guy who's bold enough to do something like that. And so I introduced myself, and I told you I liked your hat, and we talked about our faith for a minute. And we were just talking about other things and just gabbing. And then finally, as we're talking, I thought, I recognize this person. Have we met before? And so I said, I told you that. I said, I think I recognize you. And he said, nah, probably not. I live in Florida. But maybe you've seen me because I'm a content creator. And at this moment, we hadn't talked about what we did. And I said, oh, what do you create content on? He says, I review cold plunges. And I was like, my name is Steven.
Yep.
I own a cold plunge company.
It's all coming back to me.
So anyways, we connected there and then got to see each other again at Eric Hinman's Founders Only in March.
Yep. And then we had great conversations once again about faith and your product. And now I'm here in Austin again at HQ, getting to review it, which is super duper exciting. I do want to get a little bit deeper into the weeds on the creation of this product, because one of the things that you seem very passionate about, and it shows in the product, is your dependability. You want a reliable cold plunge because there was that need in the market. There still is. And as I review a bunch of them, and a lot of people who watch my channel and my content know, I'm very open about how I feel about certain brands. And when we are, as consumers, are let down, and looking at your entire setup, I think some people may be like, oh wait, there's like cleaner setups, that don't have anything off the back of them. Yeah. Sure, there are. There might be some. There's a lot of different options out there. And I could say that like, I'm impressed with the setup for a couple of different reasons, but like the main reason from my like crazy brain is, if God forbid something was to go wrong on your system, the consumer doesn't have to ship you back a 500-pound massive setup to have a small piece repaired. Like everything is pretty cut and dry and pretty easy to replace. God forbid it happen. Right. And the maintenance on this, like it seems so simple. So I want to commend you on that, but I also want to just ask and let you share like what went into all the deciding factors. And I'm talking from like the connections to the insulated tubes to the filter, pre-filter, dual pumps. Like there's some things that really make your system stand out. So I'd love for you to just proud papa moment, share with the viewer like some of the things that were your brainchild and why Fjord exists today.
I mean, honestly, a lot of it just comes from being a daily user of the thing. And like, how can I make my life easier running this thing and changing the filters, and what's going to help the water carry a better thermal dependency of temperature and stuff. So I was just thinking through what are small adjustments that are the details that I would want. I'm such an enthusiast for cold water and for cold plunging, and I love this stuff, that I literally want to own the best, most convenient cold plunge that kind of looks cool too. And that's my aim, to just build that and then offer it to other people. To your point, a couple of things we've done different. We have a dual pump setup. So we have a really nice, powerful American-made 1,200 gallon per hour pump. That's the primary pump to move water through the system. That pump is protected by a pre-filter. So that's kind of one of the number one things that can go wrong with a cold plunge, is the debris gets in the pump. I have no idea why all cold plunges on the market don't install a pre-filter right before the pump.
Same here. I mean, I've only said it for 3 years.
It's not that expensive to do it, but a lot of people don't. So we have that detail. Also, prior to that, we have a ball valve shut off. So you can cut off the water supply from the tub to the filter. And there's another one on the other side of the primary filter, which just allows you an easier, cleaner experience when changing or cleaning the filters. And that's especially important if you have a commercial customer, somebody that's using it indoors, where you don't want water all over the ground while you're trying to change your filters.
And if I'm not mistaken, I might be. So correct me if I'm wrong. The journey of the water, it goes in the tube through the pre-filter. The pre-filter catches most of the debris.
Yeah.
Then it goes through the main pump, then the chiller, all the systems in the chiller, and then it comes out the chiller and into the primary filter that catches anything else.
Correct.
I love that idea, and most don't do that. Most, it goes through all the filters first, then the pump. And one of the things I've realized is like the filters are great, but they catch the debris. And when they catch the debris, that can clog the water flow if you're not maintaining your cold plunge often enough.
Yeah.
And that could damage out and could potentially even damage or dry out the pump if the water's not flowing. And then that could eventually, if water's not flowing through the chiller, but the chiller stays on, could damage the chiller.
Correct.
So you've really, like, as someone who understands that whole process of how water has to travel and what it does going through a cold plunge, like I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like that's different. That's not normal, but I commend you for that too. So great job on that.
Yeah, we tried to safeguard it. So what can go wrong? I've had enough experience, unfortunately, in what can go wrong. And so that we're just trying to safeguard everything. And the one part I missed in the setup there is as the water flows into the chiller, it runs through the cooling element, and then it goes through that secondary pump. So there's a smaller kind of almost like a backup pump, auxiliary pump inside, which would keep the water flowing if anything did happen to the primary pump or vice versa.
Love that. I love having safeguards, especially when it comes to water, electricity, and machinery, right? Yeah. Fjord right now is amazing. It's doing great. I'm kind of asking, like, Fjord's doing great. Obviously, I'm going to review it. It's going to go on to YouTube. And, typically when I review products, a lot of them do well. I hope it does. But question for you, where do you see this going in the next 5 years? Do you have any plans, and would you like to share?
Well, the next really fun milestone on our calendar is coming up in September, and you and I will be there together.
That's right.
So we're the sponsor of Running Man Festival. So for those of you that don't know, kind of a play on Burning Man, but if you think about how enthusiastic burners are for Burning Man, you've got that for the wellness community happening right outside of Atlanta.
So for everybody watching, you may have seen my interview with Devin and Jesse, the founders of Running Man. I got asked to go to Running Man last year, and I wasn't even excited about it. Well, I'm not a runner, but I went because a couple of the brands that I worked with were going to be there. I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'll go and have some fun, whatever. I had the best time. Like I immediately put it on my calendar as soon as the dates came. I'm going to Running Man, and I'm bringing my wife this time. This is the most incredible, fun event for people who like wellness and health that I've ever been to. So if you're watching this and it's something you want to do, I'll have a link in my video description that will give you a discount off your Running Man tickets. You'll see both of us there. You'll meet my wife. You'll see some of the Fjord team. You'll get to try these cold plunges out for yourself. It's definitely an event. If you're into fun times and wellness, it's the event of the year, I think.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm super excited to kind of steal the mic and share that. But I'm stoked too that you're going to be the sponsor there. That's going to be such a blast. You also host social wellness gatherings here at Fjord HQ.
Right.
We're actually having one tonight, which is going to be a blast. Maybe I'll throw some clips on here of tonight. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. But what led you to do those? Like that's an incredible idea. It gets people into cold plunging. Mm-hmm. You get to meet people who are into this modality. What led you to do that, and how'd your first one go?
The way that I think I've made progress in my life in general, and especially with this business, is through relationships. It's through people that you meet great people that are passionate about some of the same things. One of the things I love about and why I started doing these things is, I've always been someone that enjoyed cultivating and building community and introducing people to each other. So that's number one. It's just kind of part of my nature. And then I saw this as an opportunity for us, especially here in Austin, Texas, where the culture has been for a long time. If you want to socialize, you stay out late, you go to the bars and you drink.
Right.
And it is turning into something different now. And we've got people in our 20s, 30s, and 40s, just across age generations, and girls and guys that come over once a month will activate a Fjord wellness day or work social, essentially. And we've got a DJ, we've got a whole bunch of different food and bev brands that send us wellness products, beef tallow, all that stuff. We've got red light therapy partners that come, massage therapy, body workers. We've got our sauna activated hot tub, 3 cold plunges, outdoor shower. We just kind of do a yoga session or Pilates. We'll really make it into something where people find themselves having just as much or more fun at these events with no alcohol, not even realizing that they're missing the alcohol,
So awesome. And I stole the mic from you, but I do want to let you take the mic back and share about where do you see Fjord in 5 years? What's the goal? Like, is there an end goal?
I mean, the goal is to continue to grow and continue to, my mindset is that we're always going to be thinking about how we can improve the product, even in like tiny, small ways. We're always interested in feedback from our customers and that kind of thing. So continue to just be on a path of constant innovation and have the best product out there. Even though we're one of the smaller players, I want to have the reputation that, hey, like this is a boutique company that's doing things right. And so I see us continuing to grow. I haven't done any fundraising yet, but we may do some fundraising just to accelerate that growth and continue to build the team and get them out there.
That's so awesome, man. Well, dude, I can tell you it's been a pleasure and it's been awesome to meet you. Like from the very first meeting to meeting again at Founders Only to meeting again here. It's been awesome to meet you. You're one of the real ones out there. And that's why I'm honored and excited to review this product and share Fjord with everyone who watches and subscribes to my channel. Is there anything else you'd like to share with anybody out there watching or listening?
David Moss is a good guy. This guy's got a big heart. He's got a big brain. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm just honored, man. I'm honored that you give me this opportunity.
You're making a man blush. Thank you, bro. Seriously, like, great meeting you. This is exciting. I'm stoked on this. Great product. The review will be out soon. It'll probably be out before this video. So if you're watching or listening to this, that's probably not going to make any sense because that probably led you to this video. I don't know. We'll see. But to everybody watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, ask any questions in the comments below. Steven is now subscribed to my channel. I subscribed you.
Excellent.
My kids did. They were like, we want to watch Wyatt's new video in the hyperbaric. And I was like, he's not subscribed. We're subscribing, hit notifications, all that stuff. So you're going to see me popping up like crazy.
Excellent.
But for everybody else watching, make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Ask questions because Steven will be reading the comments and replying back to those questions if you have them, which is great. But seriously, I appreciate you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, go to YouTube and check out the videos. The videos are really, really helpful. Obviously, hearing this is cool too, but watching the videos, to me, I'm a visual learner. I love seeing things. So the reviews are very helpful when you get to see how it all works before you buy a product. And if you do want to buy a Fjord cold plunge, make sure you use discount code MAUS. That's spelled M-A-U-S. Saves you a little bit of money. It's really, really cool if you decide you want to do that. And it supports the channel and it supports Steven. Super cool dude. So make sure you do that. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. See you guys in the next one. Have a great day, guys. And God bless.
Time for a cold plunge.
Let's go. Let's do it. This is like watching Ronald McDonald eat a cheeseburger off the Grimace.
I feel so natural.
Love it.
Oh.